a service of CNC Worldwide.
CNC Podcasts are a service of CNC Worldwide, brought to you by the Greece Chamber of Commerce, providing more than 800 member companies with business solutions since 1984. The state of New York, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and Facebook are all joining in a system to help find missing children by adding Amber Alerts to the Facebook news feed. New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman says people on Facebook in a targeted search area will get Amber Alerts on their Facebook news feed automatically whenever a child goes missing. Schneiderman says this grows out of contacts they made with Facebook when they worked to block illegal gun sales on the site. The Attorney General is urging Instagram and other social media to do the same. The State Comptroller's Office says an audit of 7 high schools around New York found them failing to report numerous cases of violent and disruptive behavior and changing the classification of some others so they wouldn't look as bad. State Comptroller Thomas DiNapoli cites Rochester's East High among the schools he says doctored their annual violent and disruptive incident reports, called the VADIR. State law since 2000 requires each school to file an annual report with the State Education Department as part of providing a safe learning environment, but DiNapoli says it appears many schools aren't living up to the reporting requirements. For example, he says East High reported 256 VADIR incidents, but authorities think it should have reported 769. These non-reported incidents include 2 cases of inappropriate sexual contact and 11 unreported weapons possession incidents. The State Education Department has agreed to improve its enforcement of the Safe Schools Act. Downtown Presbyterian Church will temporarily house a group of homeless people who've been camping in tents beneath the Douglas Anthony Bridge in downtown Rochester. Church representatives say 15 men will be housed in the church gym for 2 weeks. It's an agreement between the church, the House of Mercy in Rochester, and the Hochstein School of Music, which uses the church for student performances. The church will add security guards, and volunteers from the homeless advocacy group will also be at the church. Batavia School District officials are re-examining their procedures after a kindergartner walked away from the Jackson Elementary School and made it about a mile through the city before people spotted him. The district says the boy had been dismissed early from class to the nurse's office and was alone there. They told him to wait for his dad, but he apparently decided to leave the school and walk home. He walked right out the front doors undetected, and Batavia police say nobody realized he was gone until people started calling 911 to report seeing a young boy walking on the streets. The school realized he was gone simultaneously. Researchers at the University of Rochester Medical Center are testing a new oral vaccine against HIV, the first ever experimental AIDS vaccine in pill form. The vaccine isn't made from the actual virus that causes AIDS. It's made from adenovirus, which produces symptoms like the common cold, but also happens to contain a protein that forces the body's immune system to generate a response against HIV. This is the first ever test of an oral AIDS vaccine. The study is funded and designed by the Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center with support of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Governor Cuomo says American Rock Salt is expanding its operations in Livingston County, adding 55 new jobs in Mount Morris. The governor's office says ASR is moving Vaporizer LLC, a company it recently bought, to Mount Morris. At the same time, it's lengthening the railroad siding at its mine off I-390 to load more railroad cars at times like this when demand for road salt is high. Altogether, it's a $4 million investment, some of it coming from state economic development funds. The governor says this also protects 300 existing jobs at the nation's largest active salt mine. Governor Cuomo is still plugging gaps in his second-term administration, confirming 3 acting commissioners as permanent appointments. Taking acting off his title is Howard Zucker, who's now state health commissioner. Also acting no longer is John Melville, the State Commissioner of Homeland Security and Emergency Services, and Roberto Velez, the Commissioner of the Office of Children and Family Services. The city of Rochester is planning to monetize its delinquent tax bills by selling them again to a debt collection agency. Mayor Lovely Warren has sent legislation to City Council for this month asking to sell the tax liens against about 2,000 city properties to American Tax Funding LLC for a little more than $2.5 million. That's a little more than half their face value. ATF will then go after the owners and try to collect the debt. The city is currently owed more than $12 million in unpaid property taxes. Last year, it sold some of those liens for cash to ATF and apparently was satisfied enough with the results that it will repeat the process. The mayor's office says this doesn't include properties the city intends to offer for redevelopment. A man who was shot by a Rochester police officer after he threatened her with a knife has been released from the hospital and moved to the Monroe County Jail. Juliano Anthony Plaza is charged with menacing a police officer. He came at Officer Cynthia Muratori with a kitchen knife on December 15th during a domestic disturbance investigation. Canandaigua police have charged a woman with beating a 3-year-old girl with a belt. They say Zulma Bernardi Bartle has been charged with 2 counts of second-degree assault. The child suffered injuries to her lower body. She has since been removed from the residence and put in foster care. The 36-year-old Bernardi Bartle is in the Ontario County Jail. Your next podcast is whenever you click on one of these pages and catch one. I'm Bud Lowell, CNC Worldwide.